Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I'm George. We're all George. So, someone bought Bitcoin today. Well, may not have been today, but someone, and he is a ruthless Wall Street legend, bought some Bitcoin and some other stuff. So let's talk about that. And also, let me recap what happened today with CPI, with inflation, right? Everything. We had a wild day today. Up and downs, wild swings. So let's talk about that as well. And I'm going to start something fun with you guys today. It's reckless, but I think it'll be fun and it could teach you guys a thing or two. So let's do that as well. So let's get started. Welcome, 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 guys. Hopefully you guys are doing good. Today we had a wild day. We had a really wild day. Bitcoin, you could see with the CPI read, it started out okay, and then it dipped quite a lot. Then it shot up, and then it dipped, and now we're still above 22,000. So that's good. Okay. So I came up with this idea, and I'm going to start doing this. I'm telling you guys, it's reckless. Don't do it. Don't copy trade me. Don't do anything. I'm doing it for fun, just to see, just to show you guys, actually to prove to you guys how dangerous it could be using leverage. So what I have at the beginning, and I'm going to start doing this every stream, I'm going to bring up my Kucoin account, and I'm going to throw on $100 5x leverage, and I'm just going to start it every single day and see where it ends up by the end of stream. All right. So either the George effect is going to work or it's going to fail miserably, right? And if I get liquidated within the stream, I get liquidated, and I'll prove to you guys that leverage is dangerous. So I'm doing it. This is actual real $100 5x leverage on Kucoin. Let's do this. Let's go long. There you go. There you go. 22-cent profit. Actually, it's down $2 already. So let's see where it ends by the end of this stream. All right, just for fun. All right, so coin market cap, overall market cap is up about 2% today. Overall, today is pretty good. But let's talk about what happened with CPI today, okay? So this is a really good summary of what happened. We had a CPI reading. It showed inflation went down, but it didn't go down as much as expected. So this morning, people didn't know what to think. Like, inflation went down, but it slowed in terms of its decline. So does that mean, should we be worried? Should we not be worried? That's why we had all this, volatility this whole day, right? And then we finally ended up in the green for the most part. But this kind of breaks it down why we didn't come in according to expectations, why we actually falter a little bit. I mean, take a look. Eggs went up 70%. This is a huge, this is year over year, not per month, but still 70% more you're paying for eggs today versus last year. Butter, fuel, airfare is 25% more. Those of you guys that's looking to travel, have you noticed how expensive tickets are, right? You look at even frozen vegetables. I mean, obviously food, and you could see utility, energy, really like services really push everything up. But despite the fact that we have elevated inflation, yes, we still do. Today's reading showed that we're still going down. So that's good, right? That's good. So that's why we kind of went up and down a little bit today, but overall we're still moving forward. So we will see. We will have one more inflation reading before the next FOMC meeting. So that is pretty good. But here's the thing. I saw this too. Argentina right now, I don't know how many of you guys are watching me from Argentina. Their inflation rate is at 99%. 99%. So if you think our 6.4% is bad, imagine if we were living in a country with 99% inflation. And I mean, I can't even imagine. Basically, your money sitting in your bank account is decreasing by half every year. Okay, that's essentially what it means. That's how fast it is, right? And you know what? Since AI is so popular right now, I decided to pull up ChatGPT. And I asked it a serious question. And this is how smart ChatGPT is. What would happen to the U.S. economy if the debt ceiling is removed forever? This is a hot topic right now. Okay, the U.S. overspends. We have hit that debt ceiling once again. And you have both sides arguing if we should raise the ceiling once again or not raise it, right? But there's this notion like, why do we even need to have a debt ceiling? Why, as a U.S., why don't we just get rid of the debt ceiling once and for all? Let's remove it forever, right? So what would happen if the U.S. did that? So I asked ChatGPT, and it explained what would happen short term and long term, all right? I'm going to start. I'm not going to read everything, but let's look at short term. In the short term, removing the debt ceiling may have some positive effect on the market, on the economy. For example, it could alleviate concerns about potential government default. Yes, that's on the table, which could lead to higher interest rates and reduced investment. It could also allow the government to pursue more aggressive spending policies to stimulate economic growth, such as infrastructure investments or tax cuts. Great. So when the government can borrow unlimited amount of money, then of course they have an unlimited amount of money to spend, to stimulate the economy, and to put investment into infrastructure or even give tax cuts, right? That all sounds good for people that are looking at short term. What about long term? In the long term, there could be negative consequences to removing the debt ceiling. Without any limit on the amount of debt the government can incur, there will be no incentive for policymakers to exercise fiscal discipline or prioritize spending. This could lead to higher inflation, reduced confidence in the government's ability to manage its finances, and potentially a debt crisis. If creditors lose faith in the U.S. government's ability to repay its debt. Additionally, the U.S. dollar's status as the world reserve currency could be jeopardized, as other countries may become reluctant to hold U.S. debt if there is no limit on how much the government can borrow. This could have ripple effects throughout the global economy. That is why overspending, unlimited money printing is bad. ChatGPT is smart enough to kind of lay it out for people, yet, there are so many that don't focus on the long run. They only focus on the short term, right? Everyone gets rich, everyone has a lot of money, but what about inflation, hyperinflation, what Argentina is going through, what we went through the last few years, right? What about all those things? They add up, and they add up over time, and it's not easy to get rid of, right? But, even ChatGPT doesn't know how to answer that. It's quite simple, right? All right. So that's what's going on with inflation, the silent tax that no one wants. It improved a little bit, but overall, it's still elevated. And how do we opt out of it? How do we opt out of all the shenanigans, right? You need to invest in something that beats inflation. And that's exactly what this person did. Okay, who is this Wall Street legend? Well, that's none other than George Soros. Another George, okay? So not only did he purchase a ton of crypto stocks, Marathon Digital, MicroStrategy, Silvergate, okay? So Marathon Digital is a miner. MicroStrategy is, you guys know MicroStrategy. And Silvergate Bank, which is a crypto-friendly bank, right? He loaded up on all three, okay? Not only that, his own CEO says the George Soros Fund owns Bitcoin. How much? He's like, yeah, some, but not a lot. But not a lot to George Soros could be hundreds of millions of Bitcoin, all right? So, bottom line, even George Soros, yes, another George, is a ruthless investor, ruthless guy. Not a lot of people are a fan of him, but nevertheless, he made a whole bunch of money, and now he is trying to make a whole bunch of more money with Bitcoin-related companies and Bitcoin itself, right? So I think that's pretty big. Someone like Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger will never come around, I don't think. But it shows you, well, someone else that's almost as old, maybe even older. I don't even know how old George Soros is, right? He's more open-minded. He does not mind holding Bitcoin because he truly understands, and he truly understands the future. Or someone on his team truly understands and convinced him. Either way, he does own a ton of Bitcoin, and that's, I guess, overall a win. Let's take that. Let's take that as a win. Besides this billionaire, other billionaires like Ken Griffin. Also, a lot of people do not like him because he's behind what happened with GME and AMC and the naked short selling, and he bailed out Melvin Capital, all that stuff, right? So not a lot of people are fans of Ken Griffin either. But regardless, he did buy a huge stake in Silvergate, that crypto bank that George Soros also invested in. And it's not just them. I talked about BlackRock this morning. BlackRock last month, just a few weeks ago, also said they are boosting their stake in Silvergate. You have BlackRock, you have Citadel, you have George Soros, all investing in Silvergate, which is a crypto-friendly bank. Makes you wonder what they know that others don't. Because Silvergate stock is down about 90% due to their ties with FTX, but they have some of the biggest endorsers, biggest billionaires that are endorsing them, right? Makes you think, do these guys know something's up? What's going on, right? What's going on? But anyways, I digress. So as for Bitcoin itself, right? We're still in recovery mode. Like I said, we're above 22,000. That's positive, very positive indeed. And this is just looking at waves. This is basically like an Elliott wave setup, right? In 2020, basically from 2018 all the way to 2022, we had these wave patterns. Wave 1, which brought Bitcoin up to 14,000 from a low of 3,000, that was a fantastic run. And you can make the argument we are in that phase 1 right now from 15,000, and that could bring us possibly to $50,000 before we retrace. So phase 2 back in 2020, that was the COVID crash, brought us back down again. And then phase 3 was a tremendous run. Phase 4, there was another down, and then phase 5, eventually we topped out, right? But if we're mimicking it. Phase 1 will bring us up to like 40 or 50,000. We may come back down afterwards because we went too much. We overshot. Maybe we come back down into the high 20s or 30s. And then phase 3 or wave 3 is the one that you don't want to miss. That is going to be an absolutely spectacular wave that will probably come late 2024 to beginning of 2025. And then the remaining in 2025, that's when we finish off the bull run. And this bull run, considering that we have like BlackRock in this space, right? All these institutions with trillions of dollars waiting to enter the market, not just billions, trillions, sitting on the sideline waiting to enter the market. This next run, could bring Bitcoin up 300,000, 350,000, 400,000, who knows at this point. The upper limit is infinite, basically. So, I don't know about you guys. I'm looking forward to it. Also, here's another one. Just like kind of like a logarithmic kind of growth channel for Bitcoin. As time goes on, of course, the growth is going to slow down, right? The top and the bottom start narrowing within this logarithmic channel, but still, the next top, when we hit it, is going to be quite tremendous. Yeah. Okay. Now, besides Bitcoin, there are other great crypto out there today. Like I said, we went up probably like 40 billion today. Last night I think we were 999 or something like that. So we're like 40 billion up today, right? There's several good movers. but I didn't want to talk about a couple. I haven't talked about Avalanche in quite a bit. They are one of my favorite L1s. According to this, they grew 1,500% in 2022. Not in price, but in transactions, right? That's what you want to see from these projects, that people are not giving up on them. There's still development. There's still partnerships. There's a whole bunch of stuff still happening. They are building rather than sitting on their thumbs doing nothing, right? So Avalanche is one that's doing very well, recovering well, right? Not in the top 10, but can they get up there? Possibly. They were very close in 2021. Now, they're building upon their subnets, and they announced this yesterday that I missed, but they partner up with this DOS Labs, and they are a huge gaming studios. So they have 400,000 daily active players. They have a large network of game developers, and they have launched their own subnet today. And what do they plan on doing with this subnet? Basically, develop games, and also grow DeFi too. So that's interesting, right? They will support exchange, asset management tools, right? So they're going to get into DeFi as well as just overall development, right? So that's pretty big overall, right? If you look at how many subnets, if you think about subnets, basically there's like side chains. They're their own chain with their own token economics, their own tokens, but they share the consensus and governance basically with Avalanche, the main chain, and they have interoperability to talk to other chains within or other subnets within Avalanche, right? So right now it's early. There's only about 45 subnets, and DOS is one of them. But also another big one that a lot of you guys know of is DeFi Kingdoms. DeFi Kingdoms also have their Crystal Ball, which is on Avalanche, and that was the very first subnet that was released. So there's a lot, and it's still growing, so that's good. But also, what's helping Avalanche and helping Arbitrum is this DEX that I'm not too familiar with, but I've been seeing it on CMC, so I'm wondering about it. And they are GMX. GMX, recently DEXs, DeFi has been getting hotter because of all the FUD around centralized exchanges with staking, with stable coins, obviously. So people are moving to DEXs, right? And that's the right move. But GMX is a DEX that was on Avalanche. They moved to Arbitrum, but they still support both. So that's the good thing. But what is GMX? Well, they are a DEX that actually offers not only spot trading, but also derivatives trading, which they do have futures. I think they're the only DEX that offers derivative trading, meaning that you can have like 5, 10, 20, 100, silly kind of leverage on there, right? But they have exploded. They have exploded so much so that, even according to this, they collected more fees than all of Ethereum. Think about that over the weekend. One DEX collected more fees than all the dApps and DEXs on top of Ethereum. I mean, that's how much volume they have right now, right? And like I said, they are running both on Avalanche and Arbitrum, right? So it's good for Avalanche, good for Arbitrum. Arbitrum is definitely growing. I've been doing more coverage on Arbitrum, but they don't have a token right now, but they will in the future. But they are definitely one of the leading L2 networks for Ethereum at this point. And GMX, just so you guys are aware, they have been integrated, or TradingView has been integrated into their exchange, so that's good overall. And then lastly, I'm glad that this rumor was squashed. There was someone, that was spreading rumors that Circle has been asked by the SEC to shut down their stablecoin, the USDC, because they feel like it's a security, right? Someone spread this rumor. Circle themselves answered no. No one asked us to do that, so that's just a rumor. So I'm glad it's squashed, but we definitely have a lot of people spreading FUD right now because of what has happened with Kraken and with Paxos and Binance, right? So now you got a lot of people trying to spread FUD for some reason. So you gotta be careful. But I'm glad when this came out, it was corrected right away. so that it didn't spread into something much bigger, right? So good overall. And that is pretty much it. Bitcoin is still at 22. I am up 56, a whopping 56 cents. Whopping 61 cents. But if you subtract the fees, I'm actually down by $2. So it's just boring right now, but whatever. All right, let's do some Q&A. Heard Mr. Wonderful 808 on Rumble says, heard Mr. Wonderful and BlackRock are main circle investors. BlackRock is, not Mr. Wonderful. He never got into Circle. He has his own exchange, WonderFi or whatever it is. All right. Jack says that Glad bought eggs before the pump. Okay. I should just do more streams where I ask ChatGPT questions, because it answered this one about removing the debt ceiling pretty good. Because, I had this, I told you guys, I have this neighbor. I love the guy, but he's a total socialist. And he was arguing about, like, just remove the debt ceiling. Just let the government borrow what they want. It's okay. It's okay. It's not going to lead to anything bad. And I try to explain the same thing what ChatGPT just said about being fiscal responsible, right? You can't just print whatever you want and just hand it out and think that there's no consequence, right? But, it goes in one ear and out the other. He totally disagreed with me. He's like, the U.S. will stay, the USD will be the reserve currency forever. USD will always be dominant. Doesn't matter how much we print, just let the printer fly. And it was a very excruciating debate. I don't have a drink with me right now. Thunderjack, welcome to the channel. Welcome. Lazaro, since CPI was a little high, 50 basis point on the table next meeting, your thoughts? No, it wasn't high. It just didn't go as low as expected. Overall, we still went lower, right? Again, I think it will be determined with the next CPI reading. We will get another one before the next FOMC meeting, which will measure inflation for February. If that one completely stops or even comes back up, then it will be bad. Then, yeah, probably 50 basis points. But if not, I would think another 25 basis points, and then that's it. They stop it. Do I still play Soul Rare NBA? Unfortunately, I don't. I have not been keeping track of the NBA games at all, other than the few blockbuster trades, but I have not been following it. What are your thoughts on SHIB? Well, I'm still waiting for Shibarium like everyone else. So once it comes out, if they could get more dApps on top, it would be great. Fantastic for them. Rich, I still like the guy. We talk about a lot about other stuff. He's older than me, but I like to talk to him about everything else. I like to debate. One thing that's good about a debate is he doesn't get very angry, I guess. He gets defensive, but not angry. Sometimes when you get a heated debate, it's like heated, right? And people get really mad at each other. I was more mad than him, but, that's the good thing. I don't know. Thoughts on the RS7? You know, any of the RS cars from Audis, it's awesome. They look fantastic. They have good performance. They don't hold their value very well. And they're seen as, you know, because since so many Audi cars share the same platform as Lambos, you know, they're seen kind of like the poor man version of the Lambos. I don't think there's anything that shares anything with the RS7, but it's a fine sports sedan. Let's just put it that way. Aptos or Optimism, they're both. I like Optimism more because they're like a L2 for Ethereum. Aptos is their own L1. Still unsure about them. Still kind of like, you know, iffy. Not iffy, neutral. Let's just put neutral. Markets still haven't decided on movement. FUD. Sure, yeah. Yeah. Thoughts on debt? I have not, to be honest, and not paid attention to them. You know, I was always neutral on debt. And it seems like they kind of really lost a lot of momentum. Obviously with the crypto winter, but still, I don't really hear anyone talk about them or say I use Dent, I use their mobile service. I don't hear anyone talk about it. I like cheese. Okay. Okay, good. Good for you. Hey, I'm up a whopping 1% or $1.23. Today is just not enough George effect right now. We need a little bit more of it. Fetch or Oasis? That's an interesting one. Last time I just covered about Oasis not too long ago. They're trying to get an AI, but they're more of a privacy play. And I like the fact that they could be layered in, or basically any EVM compatible dApp could use them. So they're kind of like a L2, but even though they're on L1. But Fetch is also interesting. They're not in privacy, but they're an AI using the AI agents. But I don't know how smart or intelligent those AI agents are, so I can't really say. Do you think Cardano will have adoption next bull run? They already have adoption. Otherwise, they wouldn't be in top 10. I mean, at least user adoption. As for real adoption, like growing out their DeFi system, you know, getting more liquidity pools and more staking and more usage, yeah, that will grow. That will definitely grow, for sure. Yeah, Cardano recovered pretty good today. Almost 9%. Doge is up. Lido, another DeFi project that's up 9% today. That's good. The Graph, I covered them recently. People think they're into AI. They're really not, but they're useful. Phantom is up 12%. I like to see that. Multiverse X, which is aka Elron, they're Immutable X. I did cover them recently too, up 16%. Good recovery. I just talked about GMX, you know, another DEX with leverage, 9% up today. Singularity, AI play jumping back up, although they're still down 30% for the week. So that's a little deceiving. Oasis Network, I just talked about them recently, up 17% today. Yeah, today's Not a bad recovery day. Is Mana now riding Gala's coattails? Kind of. Gala kind of led the metaverse gaming recovery. They have slowed down a little bit, but then it transited to Decentraland and Sandbox and some of the others. But overall, I think everything's going to come back up. I mean, Elon just tweeted about Doge. Is that why Doge went up? Well, it didn't skyrocket, but Doge fans will take it. Up almost 7% right now, so that's good. Cardano to $5 this year. No. No. Can I get to $5 by the end of 2025 and the next bull run? Quite possibly, because they were up to $3 already. So can they go beyond that, go to $5? Possibly, but no way for this year. Zero chance. Joe Young just hit 0.25 Bitcoin this morning on that dip. Thanks for the positive vibes with the daily shows. Keep me in the game when times are tough. DCA is away. It sure is. And thank you. And congratulations. What 3 projects would you never buy into? I wouldn't mention them because I don't want to give them any attention. So let's just put it that way. And there's a lot I wouldn't invest into. Link price suppressed. I don't know about price suppressed. It's just Link is not a popular project. I think they're going to get their turn. Seeing how the graph is now starting to pump, and graph really has nothing to do with AI, but, the graph and chain link connection is tight. I mean, you need one to create and index chains and present APIs, and another is used to fetch. Chainlink is the fetching, and they're the biggest oracle out there. So I think they will move, but they're just not very sexy. It's just how it is. They're not very appealing, although they are very widely used. A lot of stuff has not moved yet. Okay, we're not in full-blown bull run or bull season. Okay, we are in recovery. Of course, the big caps led the way. Of course, of course, it goes without saying, Bitcoin led the way first, then big caps, and then now we have trends, right? AI kind of started things. You still have meme coins that are hot, but now you have a lot of others like gaming that's coming back, right? So there's trends. There's trends. But the thing is, if you feel like you missed out, you really didn't, because most altcoins, most crypto is still at least 50, 60, 70% off their previous highs. So if you think, oh, I've missed the boat on this, you didn't. Okay, just think about it. There's still at least 5 to 7 to even 10x left on the table just to get back to the previous high. We're not even talking about breaking high, just to get back to this previous high. So just think about that. All right, guys, I'm going to let you guys go. Overall, my reckless play didn't net anything. In fact, I lost $1.75 in fees. So keep that in mind. You do have to pay for fees. I'm going to sell this, and even though it says I made 85 cents, I really didn't. But, just something for fun to kind of entertain you guys and see how it goes. And if I lose recklessly, well, then that proves that no one should be playing with leverage. All right, I will see you guys tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. We will see what happens tomorrow, bright and early. Have a good night, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.